Hi beauties, welcome to my channel H.ealthy by Yulia. The topic for the video today is what exactly the INCI list will not tell you, which is so important to know. You will disregard products because they have something that you don't want, instead of actually focusing on what they do have. Because you were looking into applying a lot of different actives, you kind of forgot that maybe you are now over cleaning your skin, because your retinol is a leave-on exfoliant and your glycolic acid is a leave-on exfoliant and your salicylic toner is a leave-on exfoliant, and then on the top you will use a pill. It's just way too much for the skin. So it's not only about the ingredients list and the actives, but also how you will combine them and how many of them you will use. Now, although no one knows your skin like you do, you don't really have the knowledge from years of experience and studying like a real chemist. And you might think that you can do it yourself at home because you know a few of the actives, you can get them easily online. I really don't think that that's the best way, that you can use any type of knowledge you already have just to create something, especially if it's a leave-on product. I am not very sure about the safety, and I'm not very sure how active it will be. Don't get me wrong, it is important to look into the ingredients list. They will give you quite a bit of information, because say you decided that you want niacinamide serum, so you're considering a few different products and you'll check where into the ingredients list is based niacinamide. Sometimes it might be after the 1% line, so you don't like these products. Then you will look and you will see that some of the products will have, say, perfume. You don't like it, you will eliminate those products as well. Then you will see that something might have actually inside hyaluronic acid. Well, that's an added benefit, so you will consider more likely this type of product. So you will look into the ingredients list, not just to say no, 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 but also to compare a few notes and decide which one will be maybe the best for you. But if you use 5 different products and they all have a few essential oils, then the total quantity in your whole skincare routine will be maybe too much, and then you will get some kind of reaction, but you do not know the exact quantity. Then if you look at the ingredients list and you see that the first is water, the second is squalane, you don't know their proportions. So say something could be 70 water and then 20 squalane, or the other way around. Now the idea is that different ingredients have different optimal concentration, because what the scientists are looking into is how much it will be effective on the skin, but also how little it will irritate. So very often the very high concentration is much more likely to cause more irritation, and therefore you have to bear in mind that different ingredients do have different optimal concentration. On the top of everything else that might confuse you is the fact that a lot of the active ingredients do have derivatives. So the derivatives could be used because some are better for dry skin, some are better for acne, some are better for oily skin. So they have different optimal concentration. And although your, say, vitamin C cleanser has some kind of vitamin C, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be pure L-ascorbic acid. It might be something which is called MAP, which is great derivative, but it has different type of concentration. The whole composition, the whole mixture of your product might affect a lot different ingredients that will have certain benefits, or obviously will be bad because they're by themselves, but actually when they're combining certain group, then it might be beneficial, or at least it might be less harsh for the skin. So what I mean is that alcohol, if it's in my toner and it's the second ingredients, I will be like, thank you but no thank you. And then you have to bear in mind that alcohol could be used in less than 1% if it is used as solvent into some products. And in this case, I might consider it if the whole bunch of the product will be something very gentle and very soothing, for myself at least. Say if you get the same ingredients that is from, I don't know, a 5-pound cream that you can get from the supermarket, and then you have the same ingredients list from a 40 pounds cream. They will be the same ingredients, but the texture, the benefits for the skin will be completely different because the makers decide to do them differently. The same way, like if you give me eggs, I will do them, I don't know, scrambled, and someone else will do them poached. They are still eggs, you can still have them, you can eat them, but they will be completely different. And this is also related with the fact how much you like the brands in general, because very often the same scientists will work on a few different type of products. So if you have benefits from one and you enjoy, you like the texture, you like how your skin reacts towards it, then obviously you will go for another type of product from the same brand because you do trust them and you believe that they're working well. So even if you do prefer certain ingredients, very often you just don't know if it's raw, if it was chemically altered, or it was actually synthetically made in a lab. You will not get this information unless the makers of the product decided to label it. With botanical ingredients, they are never really the same because they are affected from the different species and the climate, the way that they were looked after, the harvest, the way that certain ingredients were extracted from them. So you get different type of ingredients even from year to year, from producer to producer, and obviously your product will be very different. The ingredients list will not tell you the origin or the quality of the ingredients inside. And what I mean is, say, squalene. It's amazing, right? No. And here's the thing. Squalene is made by shark livers, and millions of animals are killed each year in order for you to get this ingredient. Squalane is made by either sugarcane or olive oil or different kind of plants. So it's very different, and the fact that you know that one is animal and the other one is plant will make you buy or not buy your product. Chemicals can have very different formulation, and therefore they can look different and have different benefits, and therefore used in different type of products. And that's something that you need to check under a microscope, and obviously you don't have it, at least I don't have it, so you will not know exactly the formulation of the compounds. And if you think about it, say pencils, so you have the same look of the pencil, the same color, but once when you start drawing something, you will realize some of them are soft, some of them are harder, you will prefer some and dislike other. You will get a very different type of sketches using different type of pencils. And as weirdly as might sound, it's the same with ingredients and their formulas. The origin of certain ingredients will make or break them. For many people, whether because their beliefs, their lifestyle choices, say they're vegetarian or vegan, they will prefer certain brands and avoid other. And unfortunately, for many of the ingredients, they could be from animals, plants, or synthetically made. And this will not be disclosed on the label very often. So what happened to myself was that I was vegetarian for about 7 years. Three of them I was working with one brand that I knew quite well, and then in one point they decided to create this type of collagen drinks to boost the skin by drinking something. And my boss, who is dermatologist, told me, don't go there. And when I asked her why, she actually explained to me that in this drink, what this particular brand used was bovine collagen. So it was made by cows. And it's something that is very, very common because collagen specifically is very often made from seaweed, fish, or cows. Of lack of information will really make you go for vegan brands or vegetarian brands just because you don't even think that certain ingredients might be from an animal. And when I'm talking about natural ingredients and plants, I think it's important to say that for certain ingredients, because they can be found in the nature, brands are allowed to list them as natural, although they were created in a lab. So they place synthetic ingredient and they label it as natural, and they are allowed to do so. The labeling of the products is a nightmare of its own. Not only that, sometimes brand will label something like a Manuka honey toner, and then you will see that the Manuka honey is like a tiny bit of amount that will not do anything for your skin. But also that sometimes you can look for things like natural, organic, cruelty-free, not tested on animals, and some of the organizations that will give this type of stamp for cruelty-free will focus only on the finishing products or the mixture from the brand, but they will not check actually the suppliers. Yes, the final product was not tested on animals, but the suppliers did test it on animals. Chemicals that are tested on animals still can be used. Preservative-free labeling is something that I really dislike. Such type of product doesn't exist. Purely legally, brands have to place some kind of preservatives. These are the ingredients that will keep you from harm and will make sure that the product is safe, that there is no contamination, whether with microorganisms or bacteria. So if it's not something that purely function is preservative, but it's something that has smell and it is preservative, they will say that they use it for the smell while actually they use it for the both things. And some of the brands like to name their products to say very strong and very good working actives like retinol. So you will see this retinol cream, and then when you look at the INCI list, you will see that, well, there is no retinol. It has retinyl palmitate, which is derivative, which is very, very mild. I will say, for myself, at least my opinion, quite useless. The last bit about labeling that you might see is might contain or plus minus. So this is used especially for makeup for different shades, and certain shades like a lighter one of BB cream might contain a little bit higher quantity of, say, titanium dioxide, and then obviously if it's darker, like, I don't know, for espresso skin foundation, then it will not contain or just contain a very small amount of certain ingredients. So what the brands are doing, instead of printing different labels for every single shade, they print one and then just stick it to all of their products with plus minus or it may contain. Other reason why you might see is because the same facilities has been used for different type of products. So say in your chocolate bar you see may contain nuts because in the same facility they did some kind of other dessert that was containing nuts. And the same with skincare products, because another product from the same brand do contain it in the same facility or the same machines were used to create something different, you might see some kind of traces, and that's why they do put plus minus. The last common reason why you might see this type of labeling is because the brand is in a process changing the formula. So if you get the older batch of the same product, there will be higher quantity of something, while the newer product have, say, smaller quantity of the same ingredients. You have to know the smell, the texture of the product, the origin of the ingredients, also their formula, their quantity into the products, the storage of the products, the packing. There's so many things that you have to bear in mind as well. And then looking into different ingredients lists, you have to create the whole of your routine. So look into different sources and try not to judge the product just because it has or doesn't have one ingredient.